The Senate Committee on Natural Resources will now come to order. Will the Secretary please call roll with Senator Hansen absent excused?
Thank you. Chair Cruz Crawford,
Here.
Senator Scheibel,
Here.
Senator Pacina,
Present.
Senator Ellison.
Okay, we have a quorum with 4 out of 5 members. Welcome to our audience here in Carson City, those joining us via video conference. Just kidding, there's no one in Las Vegas, and anyone tuning in over the internet. Before we start, I'd like to make a few housekeeping announcements first. Remember, when you're testifying, turn your microphone on when you are speaking and turn it off to listen. We have listeners and viewers online, and we're recording this meeting. It'll be available on the legislator's website following the meeting. If you have handouts for the committee, please provide 10 copies to the committee secretary prior to your testimony. And in addition, exhibits and amendments must be submitted electronically as a PDF file to our committee manager no later than 3:30 p.m. on the business day following the meeting. Committee information is available on Nellis, which can be accessed through the legislature's website. You may also watch through Nellis or the legislature's YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We ask that public comments be kept to 2 minutes. If you have anything additional, you can write your public comments and submit them before, during, or up to 24 hours preceding the meeting's adjournment. Members of the public can provide testimony either in person or by phone, and please mute your electronic devices, especially your cell phones, during the meeting, so Donna can take an accurate record of what we are saying here. Before we move to our first agenda item, I do have one BDR for introduction. Today we have a BDR for introduction. Please remember, a vote in favor for introducing the BDR does not imply commitment to the support for this measure. All this action does is allow the BDR to become a bill and enter the legislative hearing process. This is BDR 35382, which creates a Transit to Trails Task Force. This is a BDR from the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Natural Resources. Do I have a motion to introduce BDR 35382?
So moved.
Okay, we have Senator Pacina. I have a motion from Senator Pacina
Second.
and a second from Senator Scheibel to introduce BDR 35382. Is there any discussion?
I love this bill.
There was a slight discussion. Senator Pacina saying she loves this bill. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, sorry. All those in favor say nay. Okay, the motion passes, carries. Now we're going to start our Senate bill hearing on Senate Bill 233. We're really excited to hear this bill because it is Agricultural Day at the legislature, and I had a Senator Dinyate said, hey, for this day, can we hear my ag bill? And I said, that's a great idea. So we're going to hear it now. So I'm going to open the hearing on Senate Bill 233. This measure revises provisions relating to agriculture. Senator Dinyate is at the table, and you can introduce your guests. We've allotted 15 minutes for the bill presentation. Please begin when you are ready.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon to the members of the Senate Committee on Natural Resources. For the record, my name is Fabian Dinyate, and I proudly represent Senate District 10 in Central Las Vegas. I am here to speak on Senate Bill 233, a measure that provides the infrastructure for long-term food security. Today, I have the pleasure of being joined by Rodney, who is the owner of the Blue Lizard Farms in Caliente in White Pine County. A little bit about today's presentation. Today, we will go ahead and review the background, some of the national trends and solutions relating to locally purchased food programs in Nevada, and so I want to go ahead and proceed with the presentation. So, a little bit of the background. Before I talk about the slide, I just want to talk about why we're here today. So, on a personal note, I'm going a little bit off script. On a personal note, you know, I've mentioned before that I'm the grandson of a farm worker. My grandfather traveled from Zacatecas, Mexico, all throughout the United States, from California, Nevada, and Texas. And I'm always really proud of my ancestry of coming from a family of farm workers. That was the way that we provided for our family. And my father was also a farm worker when he was a teenager. Obviously, does not do it anymore. He works in the casinos, but it's part of our lifeblood, and I saw the benefits, of course, of part of our culture. One of the things that I felt was very important for me, I've always wanted to carry a farm bill, and I took the liberty of, over the interim, of traveling and doing a farm worker tour, or a farm tour, essentially. And so it took me to Fallon, where I talked to a few farmers out there. And one of the biggest complaints that they had was, I asked them, if you could have one issue solved by the legislature, what would that issue be? And the biggest issue that they brought forth was this cap, right? The cap that they were alluding to was that the Home Feeds Nevada program had to cap the amount of payments that they would receive, because essentially the funds for the program were starting to run out. And so that's kind of the rationale of what we're here for today in terms of advocacy of what Senate Bill 233 is going to do. And so more on the background, 93% of Nevada farms are family owned as of 2019, yet most of the food consumed in the state is imported from over 500 miles away. As we face record-breaking grocery menu prices, the common response to concerns about rising food costs is often vague. However, this can be potentially mitigated with greater investment in Nevada's agricultural sector. Logistical and economic inefficiencies, such as the trucking industry's focus on backhauling to avoid cost-inefficient empty hauls, drive up the transportation costs, which are ultimately passed on to consumers. Research shows that the growth in agriculture reduces poverty twice as effectively as growth in other sectors, but this presents an opportunity, especially for Nevada's rural communities where agriculture is most concentrated. These communities have the most gain from investments that produce economic and social returns. The recent USDA funding cuts have significantly impacted critical programs supporting local food access. Notably, the Local Food for Schools program, which was set to allocate between $660 million in 2025 to help schools and childcare facilities purchase from local farms, has now been canceled. Additionally, the Local Food Purchase Assistance program, which would have provided $500 million this year to food banks and local organizations, has also been withdrawn from the Trump administration. These cuts undermine efforts to strengthen local food systems, support farmers, and increase access to healthy, locally sourced food for schools and vulnerable communities. And so the bill proposal in front of you today is, in light of the recent challenges, it's clear that agriculture must become more strategic in identifying stable and sustainable revenue funding sources. To address this, the proposed bill requires the Governor's Council on Food Security to conduct a study on long-term financial stability for local agricultural funding. By December 1st, 2026, the Governor's Council on Food Security will submit a report to the Director of the Department of Health and Human Services identifying sustainable funding sources, which will then be presented to the 84th legislative session or to the legislature. This initiative will also empower the Governor's Council on Food Security to request a drafting of one legislative measure related to the program. Additionally, the bill allocates $800,000 to the Nutritious Food Purchase Account, supporting the Home Feeds Nevada Agricultural Food Purchase Program. This funding ensures that Nevada's agricultural systems can grow in a way that is both sustainable and responsive to the needs of the communities. So just to go over the amendment, we are essentially deleting most of the provisions of the bill. Section 1 is now striked. Section 2 is now striked. So we're not going to be talking about growing in Nevada. The bill now focuses specifically on the allocation, the appropriation that it has been set forth in the bill, and then most notably changing the study to now look at how we can make the Home Feeds Nevada Agricultural Food Purchasing Program sustainable for the long term. You're about to hear really sad stories of folks that are going to be negatively impacted from this legislation. When I introduced Senate Bill 233, I had put the request to double the allocation of what we have done previously because I believed in the program and I believed in the stories that these farmers told to me during my tour. And the unfortunate circumstance that we're now in is if Senate Bill 233 does not pass, we will not have the ability to continue this program. The lifeline of this program depends on this bill getting passed. And so I want you to hear directly from the farmers themselves as to the impact of this bill. And so at this time, I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Rodney.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak to you today. The Home Feed Nevada program is essential to.
Sorry, can you say your first and last name and spell it for the record? I don't know if
Thank
you
you.
did
I'm
or
sorry.
if I missed it.
My name is Rodney Maring, and I own and operate Blue Lizard Farm just north of Caliente, Nevada. Anyways, to continue, this program is vital to the small farms in Nevada. I love the program because it's a win-win-win. It bolsters our small farms. It provides economic and job opportunities in the local area. In 2023, I had 7 people working on my farm harvesting crops, and we delivered 23,000 pounds of produce to 3 squares that year, and then it feeds the poor. So not having this program affects the very people that need it the most. And it's essential. We count on it a whole lot at our farm because we live so far away from our markets. Some other farms, I think, are a little closer to their markets and may move their produce in other ways besides the Home Feed Nevada program, but it's pretty essential in my area. The other thing the program offers is the opportunity for farms to expand their potential offerings. So I have a rancher in the Caliente area, and he grew onions last year, and he would like to expand his operation, not just growing cattle and hay and feed for his animals, but to also get into the commodities onion market. This year he's planning to do onions and corn. Another hay farmer grew watermelons last year, but was not able to get a part of their, or wasn't able to get onto the program because the funds are running out. And so they got half their crop sold. Luckily, they broke even, but it would have been a big difference if they could have had the Home Feed Nevada program as a part of what they do. This program is not a giveaway to small farms. You are buying a service. You will provide these funds, we will grow crops, and people will be fed. And at the same time, this money goes back into our community and gets recycled back and back again. It is absolutely essential. Do you have any questions for me?
Thank you so much, Rodney. Fabian and Nata again for the record. So in conclusion, before we take any questions from the committee members, I want to refresh as to why the Home Feeds Nevada program was so critical during the pandemic. What we learned through that process was unfortunately, as we were seeing, right, the issues with groceries and not being able to purchase things off the shelf, what we learned was that we were too dependent on other states. And our economy essentially crippled from that. And so the Home Feeds Nevada program was a way to empower local farmers to contribute and work with the food banks so that we can allocate resources and foods to those who need it the most. Now, so not only, like as I mentioned, did it lessen the reliance on other state economies to provide foods for our own constituents, it also continued to invest in our rural economy, right? Many of these farms need a level of structure and stability, and that's what the Home Feeds Nevada program has been able to establish. But because we use ARPA dollars, and we're in a different circumstance now with the federal cuts, we need to be able to pass funding to continue this program, especially hearing the positives of how this program has benefited. And so we hope the committee members can help us in this venture, and we're happy to take any questions from the committee members at this time.
Thank you so much, Senator Danyate and guest. I'm going to open up questions to the committee. Senator Allison?
Thank you, ma'am. You know, and I believe we should get as much product we can and get moving as much as we can, but there's a lot of bills that are out here that's going to conflict with prices and everything else. So we're looking at everything we can to make sure we can make it work. But on the budget, when I read this thing, and I kept saying, well, the budget is a little different from what the fiscal note said. So if you look on the front, it says, effective local government, no. Effective the state contains appropriations, not included. Executive budget is 0, but if you turn on the back, it's 800,000, and that's gotta go to Ways and Means or Finance. And, is it in the governor's budget, or can you tell me? I'm just trying to make sure that we don't get the bill there and then there is no money, or what we can do. And then I got one more question, if I may, after, ma'am. And the other thing is, what kind of produce are we talking about? I know we grow corn, we grow melons, we grow onions, and, could you give me an idea what we're all talking about?
Sure.
Thank you so much, Fabian Doñate, for the record. So for the sake of transparency, I know this is not a money committee, but I'm just gonna go over it really quickly. So the fiscal notes that were associated on Nellis, reflected the original section 1 and the original section 2 of the bill. Those sections have been striked and replaced, so the fiscal notes will no longer be
Okay,
relevant to the bill because we are striking and replacing them. And then in regards to the appropriation, again, as I mentioned, I wanted to double the appropriation as what the state legislature put forth last time, which is why you see the 800,000. It is my understanding that the funds are now, we're kind of in a depletion mode, and perhaps if, I know there's folks from the Department of Agriculture, if you wanted more specifics, but we are now in a different position where if this appropriation does not go through, the funds will be depleted on the account and we won't be able to provide these resources anymore. Originally, when I had implemented or wrote this bill, we had the matching funds from the federal government. Those funds have been frozen and cut, so we no longer have the ability to depend on that. So these are the only funds that will be allocated to this program within the next 2 years if it passes Ways and Means and Finance.
okay. And could you answer the second question on what produce? Because I know in Fallon and Burnley that, you know, they have different melons and stuff like this, and Nevada's got a lot more to offer than people realize.
Yes, we do. On my farm, I grow about 20 different crops. Primarily, we grow a lot of greens, so spinach, spring mix, and what we call a super mix, which is a mustard mix. But you're talking carrots, you're talking turnips, you're talking beets, potatoes, the list goes on and on. So all of the things that you eat and see at the grocery store, we grow there on my farm.
And that was Ronnie, for the record. And just one other thing, it's my understanding from many of these conversations that a large portion of the funds that go towards the Home Feeds Nevada program is actually towards cattle farmers. So beef is one of the largest purchases, a big proportion of the purchases that we're doing through the program.
Beef and sheep, yeah.
That's probably a question more for someone else, but that's my understanding so far.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Great, and just a reminder, this is a policy committee, so we're deciding if we do want the policy of keeping this program intact, because it is under threat with federal government cuts. So do we want to invest in this program and look at those long-term sustainability plans? But I appreciate you both addressing. Go ahead, Senator Scheibel.
Thank you, and thank you for presenting this bill to us. I think the Home Feeds Nevada program is awesome, and I know it's been successful. I know that neither of you oversee the program, but I'm wondering if you might be able to tell us a little bit about its success, how far-reaching it is, like what areas of Nevada are being served through the Home Feeds Nevada program, and kind of give us a sense for the size of the program. Thank you.
Now, good afternoon, Patricia Hoppy, for the record. I am the administrator of the Division of Food and Nutrition at the Nevada Department of Agriculture. We own Home Feeds Nevada. It is definitely an amazing program. We are on our last funding source, as the senator mentioned, and we currently have approximately 18 to 20 local producers in the state. We only buy local. We do not buy outside of the state of Nevada. We have another 10 waiting in the wings that are eligible to participate in the program if we had more funding. The majority of our producers, about 75 to 80%, are small, very, very small farms like Rodney's. We don't even have any large producers, and so that's who we purchase most of our food items for, and the majority of what we purchase is produce. What we try to do, my division administers 13 of the 15 USDA feeding and nutrition programs. So what we try to do with Home Feeds Nevada is it's set up and codified in legislature to where the producers, such as Rodney, deliver their food items to one of the two food banks, either 3 Square or Food Bank of Northern Nevada, and then they distribute across the state through their partners and all of their routes across the state. We try to prop up programs because they don't get a lot of fresh produce. We also try to purchase the products that are really expensive, that are very nutritionally dense and that are needed, such as meat proteins and fluid milk. And they don't get a lot of those, or they're very expensive. And so that's what we spend the bulk of our money on, is fresh produce, meat protein, and milk.
Thank you. And this is just a comment, not a question. I think part of what is so successful about the program is that you do have that partnership with NGOs, and instead of reinventing the wheel, you utilize the systems that are already in place to feed people, but you supplement that supply chain that, like you mentioned, it's very, very difficult to get fresh produce, fresh meat, dairy products to a food bank. And so we were able to fill in that gap, and it would be a shame to lose that opportunity. That's all. Thank you.
Could I make another comment real quick?
Yes, and then we have Senator Pazina.
Okay, thank you. Rodney Maring for the
Thank-
record. You know, one of the delights that I have is when I deliver to the food bank in Las Vegas, I get to talk directly to the delivery drivers that deliver my produce. And the sister agencies that get my produce, they just seem to be so happy because they don't get this kind of product fed to the people that need it. And so I just wanted to share that delight that I get to experience. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that comment. And this is really more of a comment than a question. I was fortunate to serve on the interim committee for natural resources, and Home Feeds Nevada had the opportunity to present to us then. And the program is just so beneficial, not only for the Nevada food that's then put in the hands of those in the food banks, the Northern Nevada Food Bank and 3 Square, but as you said, for the people who really rely on it so heavily. I feel like we're in a time right now when prices are just astronomically increasing in the grocery stores, and people are losing income, and this program needs to be funded. So I thank you for the bill presentation today.
Patricia Hoppy for the record, Administrator for NDA. I would like to add that we can provide you our last report, and in answer to the impact question, it will show the number of households served by both 3 Square and Food Bank of Northern Nevada for an entire federal fiscal year, if that would help.
Yes, thank you. If you can give it directly to our committee secretary, and we can distribute that information. Okay, any other questions? Okay, I had a couple. So if we did not have Home Feeds Nevada, where would we be getting our food for our food banks? I know it's not the entirety of where we get all our food, but where would that gap?
Thank you so much, Fabian Oñate, for the record. So I think that's more of a food bank question, but you want to answer it?
Patricia Hoppy for the record. I can share that both of the food banks do operate other feeding programs. Some of their food does come from federal feeding programs that we operate under USDA.
Hi, good afternoon, committee. Shane Piccinini with the Food Bank of Northern Nevada. That is true. We do get USDA commodities from the Temporary Emergency Food Assistance Program and the CSFP program for seniors. And we also have a fairly robust charitable food system in which we're able to do retail rescue or to get donations from producers like, Cisco or General Mills or whatever, that's out there with an excess product. But those are unreliable in like the product type that we get is whatever is in excess, so there's not a dependable source of any one product. And number two is the really healthy and expensive products that we all like to have in our diets are never really included in that charitable food system.
So in the absence of this Home Feeds Nevada, if we let this program die, we would lose out on fresh produce. It would be more canned, like you said, like Cisco, like canned corn or canned onions. Is there canned onions instead of fresh onions?
We would definitely be more dependent on shelf-stable produce, but also we would be dependent on produce that has been in the food supply chain for a very long time. So Home Feeds Nevada provides an exponentially fresher product to our clients.
And then would we have less people served at the food banks, or would we be able to fill that gap with that Federal Reserve?
The Home Feeds Nevada program came along at just the perfect time. We went, pre-pandemic to 90,000 people a month to 155,000 people a month being served. Post-pandemic, the Home Feeds Nevada program made it possible for us to increase our reach with healthy foods. Without that, it would have definitely been a struggle.
So if we ended the Home Feeds Nevada program today, what would that gap be?
It would be 1 million pounds less product for the Food Bank of Northern Nevada.
And another issue I see is the money is locally going into our farmers' pockets, right? To help subsidize the cost of the growth and maintaining their farms. So we'd also lose out on money staying here in the state of Nevada as well.
Shane Piccini for the record, that's correct. So the money is passed through the NDA to the local growers and producers, and that money, that economic investment stays in the state.
And this might be a hoppy question, but so last time we had 800,000 over the biennium, is that correct? 400,000 per?
Patricia Hoppy for the record. So we've had two funding sources since the program started in approximately August of 2022. One source is local food purchase assistance, which you heard the senator mention. That is a federal funding source that came from Agriculture Marketing Service. We got about $4.150 million. We are on the last $139,000 of that funding that is due to expire June 30th, 2025. It will not last that long for us. We will not even make it to the growing season, which will start in May. June, the harvest will start. We also received a $2 million allocation from the Governor's Finance Office of State ARPA that we have already spent.
Okay. Thank you. I look forward to the stats and information of how many people that you're able, or farms you're able to support. Okay?
It will also show the number of pounds that we purchase in a year as well for the different products.
That'll be very helpful. Thank you. Any other questions from the committee? Okay. We are now going to move in testimony, so if you can take your seats, please. Okay, we're going to move in testimony in support, so if you are in support, please come up. And then if you see an open space, when you're done providing, you go back to your seat and then provide another open space, just like kindergarten lineup. Okay, we take our turns. We don't take more than 2 minutes. Okay, perfect. Okay, we are going to hear testimony in support of Senate Bill 233. Remember, you have 2 minutes. Testifiers are encouraged to summarize any of their positions and submit more comprehensive testimony in writing. If someone is saying something similar to you, it's okay to say ditto. You get extra bonus points for that. Okay, thank you. You may begin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Allison Herzick. I'm the Director of Nevada Government Relations for Dignity Health St. Rose Dominican. I also have the pleasure to serve as the Chair of the Governor's Council on Food Security. We are here today in support with the proposed amendment from Senator Doñate. The Home Feeds Nevada program, funding and support for the program has been identified as a priority for the council in our strategic plan. So we look forward to seeing the continuation of this program. We talk about it often in our meetings. So we're really, really thrilled to see this before you today, and just want to thank the senator for bringing it forward, and thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. For the record, I'm Doug Busselman. I'm the Executive Vice President of Nevada Farm Bureau. Farm Bureau policy supports funding for Home Feeds Nevada. I think another one of the advantages beyond the discussions of providing food as well as finances for farmers who are growing the food. I think the other element that's still in the bill deals with the study that will be conducted. And through that, we're hopeful that there will be ideas surfaced that can help supplement and sustain the program on an ongoing basis. So we support the bill and we thank you for your time.
Greetings, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Kelly Kelly, Kelli, Kelly. I've been working in the Nevada food system for the past 15 years, and I'll submit my more full testimony in writing. But I just want to be clear that the appropriation in SB 233 is just a financial Band-Aid to keep the program growing in the short term. And the key piece of this bill is that strategic funding plan to come out of the Governor's Council of Food Security. This is a valuable program that has positive benefits on both sides of the dollar, keeping that money with Nevada agricultural producers and benefiting food insecure families and households on the other side. So I encourage you to support SB 233. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, Chair and members of the committee. Sheila Bray, Sheila Bray with University of Nevada, Reno. We're here in full support of this bill. Through Extension and our College of Agriculture, Biotechnology, and Natural Resources, we do a lot of this type of work in terms of food systems and identifying issues, gaps, and where we can do better. So stories such as Rodney's that was shared today, we hear throughout a number of communities in which we serve. Our own Wolfpack Meats that is actually housed on the University of Nevada, Reno campus was a provider of, or a recipient of the Home Feeds Nevada program and able to help push out food to some ground beef actually to communities. So we are in full support of this bill. We think it goes a long way to serve those gaps most needed. So thank you.
There you go. Hello. Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. Representing Green Our Planet. And we are in support of SB, Marco Rauda, Marcorauda, and we are supporting SB 233. The truth is that food insecurity is real in rural, suburban, and urban communities. And this bill will go a long way to ensure that we placate some of that insecurities. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Olivia Tanager on behalf of the Sierra Club Toyabe chapter. For the record, we're in strong support of this bill. We believe that food justice is environmental justice and that our communities are happier and healthier, are better to be better advocates for their planet if they are fed and if they do not struggle to put food on the table. And so we support the continuing of this program and support all the work that went into this bill. Thank you.
Hello, committee members, Chair, Vice Chair Scheibel. My name is Tony Ramirez, Tonyramirez with Make the Road Nevada. Super brief story. Make the Road was able to meet with some farmers in the interim, and we sadly saw all of the produce rotting in the fields. It was a sad thing to see $250,000 worth of tomatoes, watermelon, squash, et cetera, just rotting in the field. This farmer who proudly says that his dad was the first person in Fallon that was of Mexican descent. 4 generations working this particular farm. He had no idea why. There was no more money to buy the produce from the food bank. He just let us know that I had no idea, and this is the produce that is rotting in the field. And it was a sad thing to see. So we are in strong support of this bill.
For the record, my name is Rob Hawley. I'm with Hawley Family Farms. We're a farm in Dayton, Nevada. We've been farming for many, many generations there. Prior to my full-time farming career, I was a law enforcement officer, and I really never thought I would have anything that was more satisfying than protecting good citizens from bad citizens. And I have found that providing good, wholesome, locally grown food to people who greatly appreciate it is probably even more so because it doesn't weigh on me personally. And so I have not used this program. We used other food banks programs prior that were a challenge in seeing the fruits of our labor make it to the people who needed it. Home Feeds Nevada has worked. It's been of particular import to farmers in very rural Nevada. I'm in Dayton, and so I have access to my markets. But it's been very, very effective, not only in providing them the opportunity to grow these things, but to get them to people who need it and appreciate it. It's added to the economic viability of their farms and to the quality of life of the people on the other end. So as a farmer and a humanitarian and a citizen of the state of Nevada, I support this bill as well.
Good afternoon. Jill Moe for the record, Jillmoe. I'm the director of the Desert Farming Initiative at the University of Nevada, Reno, and also a member of the Governor's Council on Food Security. I'm here to testify in support of this bill, urge you to support it as well. The Desert Farming Initiative runs the Nevada Farm Apprenticeship Program. This is a program to train Nevada's next generation of fruit and vegetable farmers. And I just wanted to share that programs like Home Feeds Nevada ease some of the barriers to starting new farms here, such as establishing markets and also establishing food distribution infrastructure. And the program also supports existing farms that are working to expand production and capacity. So I guess I'm saying ditto to Senator Donyate's introduction to the bill. Potential cuts to SNAP that have been discussed at the federal level, deportations of farm workers that could potentially impact our food system here, would only exacerbate our food access issues in Nevada, and programs like Home Feeds Nevada are only more important in that situation. So again, thank you for hearing my testimony.
Hello again, Shane Piccinini, ShanePiccinini. I'm with the Food Bank of Northern Nevada. I just want to take a moment to thank Senator Dunyate for bringing this bill forward. When he was the bill sponsor in 2021 that brought this program to life, and I have to tell you sitting here today that I had no idea how successful this program was going to be. It has been truly transformational for us as a food bank and also for the farmers, growers, and the entire agricultural community who has participated. The Food Bank of Northern Nevada is currently assisting about 160,000 people every single month. That represents a 28% increase over fiscal year 22. The families and children, seniors that we've helped through our 155 partner agency network and direct service programs across the region has really like the cornerstone of keeping families in Nevada food secure. The Home Feeds Nevada has become a critical part of the fabric that makes that network possible. This particular program, Home Feeds Nevada, for the Food Bank of Northern Nevada has reached 14 tribal communities, 6 school pantries, 50 rural partners, along with 120 urban partner agencies in like Washoe, Carson, Douglas, Lyon, Churchill, and then 32 senior specific sites. So we made a commitment in 2021 that this program would benefit all 17 counties, and we have committed, we have maintained that commitment. So we're grateful to the Nevada Department of Agriculture for their partnership, and we thank the agricultural community specifically for their willingness to not only participate in this program, but their support for the Home Feeds Nevada program. Thank you.
Hi, members of the committee. My name is Chelsea Weininger, and I'm the Interim Director of Advocacy for 3 Square Food Bank, which serves Clark, Esmeralda, Lincoln, and Nye counties in southern Nevada. Between 2022 and 2024, 3 Square purchased nearly 2 million pounds of food grown by Nevada growers and producers through the Home Feeds Nevada program and distributed it to neighbors in every county in our service area. These products included fresh produce, protein, dairy, as you heard earlier, products that are not always readily available through the Food Donation Network. 3 Square supports SB 233 and the continuation of the Home Feeds Nevada program in the state. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lisa Voigtlander, LISAVOIGTLAENDER. And I am with Flatten Farms, and my family's been farming in the area for, I think I'm 5th generation here. And I mostly work with the agritainment side, but we have Alanis Farms is doing a lot of growing on our farm, and he did some growing for the food bank last year. And it was very unfortunate because the funding ran out and we had all of this produce that had no home. And so it would be good to have a sustainable way so that we know, even yesterday, we're like, what seeds do we buy? We don't know if we buy to grow for the food bank, because what happens if we plant and we grow it and then the funding runs out, then we're stuck with it. And small farms really can't eat that loss. And so having this would help so that we know that the funding is there and that we can feed the people in our own state great high quality food from our state that we'd like to do. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Cruz Crawford and members of the committee. For the record, I'm Jeff Fontaine, and today I'm here as the Executive Director of the Lincoln County Regional Development Authority to support the Home Feeds Nevada program. The lack of infrastructure and lack of available private land for development really makes my job and economic development and job growth in Lincoln County very challenging. So it's really, I think, a future looking towards small business and primarily ag businesses. And so Mr. Mehring and his Blue Lizard Farms is really a bright spot in Lincoln County for us. And we think that there's potential for other farmers in the county to also participate in the program. And that would certainly help us bring, in addition to the great benefits provided by this program to the recipients of the produce, also jobs and economic growth in Lincoln County. Thank you.
Okay, AVH, is there anyone on the line wishing to provide support testimony for Senate Bill 233?
Thank you, Chair. If you would like to testify in support of Senate Bill 233, please press star 9 now to take your place in the queue.
Good afternoon. My name is Sabina Malik, and I serve as faculty at the University of Nevada, Reno Extension, where I research food security and healthy food systems and lead the Small Agriculture Roundtables. I also chair the Southern Nevada Food Council, and I'm speaking today on their behalf in strong support of continued and expanded funding for the Home Feeds Nevada program at NDA through SB 233. This bill has provided a successful model to showcase the necessary infrastructure needed to support our small farms to be able to scale up their operations to support a food secure Nevada, and it's been based on extensive research on fair pricing. The prevalence of private out-of-state farmers markets in Southern Nevada has severely limited the opportunity to sell their produce and sustain their businesses, making this a lifeline for Nevada farmers. Home Feeds Nevada is a critical program that strengthens local agriculture, enhances food security, and supports Nevada's economy by ensuring that the food grown in Nevada serves Nevadans. In its first year, it successfully routed over 2 million pounds of locally grown food through Nevada's food banks, directly benefiting food insecure families across all 17 counties. This program not only supports Nevada producers, but also reduces our reliance on out-of-state food, making our food system more sustainable and resilient. This is necessary to prevent gaps in this work. access to quality, nutritious food, locally grown produce, dairy, and most difficult to get at pantries, proteins, is essential for preventing severe hunger, improving health outcomes, and reducing the long-term burden of chronic diseases on our healthcare system. The demand for this program continues to grow, and additional funding is essential to sustain and expand its impact. Investing in this program is an investment in Nevada's farmers, families, and future. I urge you to support this bill and ensure the long-term success of this program. Thank you.
There are no other callers currently on the line to provide support testimony.
Thank you, AVH. Next, we'll move to hear testimony in opposition of Senate Bill 233. If there's anyone here in Carson City wishing to provide opposition testimony, please approach. Okay. AVH, is there anyone on the line wishing to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 233?
If you would like to testify in opposition to Senate Bill 233, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Chair, the public line is open and working. However, there are no additional callers at this time.
Thank you, AVH. Now we'll move to testimony in neutral. Is there anyone on the line wishing to provide testimony in neutral to Senate Bill 233? Seeing none.
If you would like to provide testimony in neutral
Did I
for Senate
say
Bill 233,
AVH? I'm
please
sorry.
press *9 now to take your place in the
We'll
queue.
do the phone, then you can come up. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Public line is open and working. There are no callers at this time.
Thank you. And now we'll take testimony in neutral here in Carson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is J.J. Goycochea, GOI-COE-CHEA, Director, Nevada Department of Agriculture. The department is neutral on this bill, but I would be remiss if I did not thank our producers, all of our growers, and our partners for the huge success that this program has become, especially over the last 2 years. We definitely couldn't have done it without them. And to be completely transparent, we are spending north of $2.5 million a year on this program currently. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to invite our sponsor back for any closing comments.
Thank you, Chair. Fabian Iñárritu for the record. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to Rodney and to the folks that came out today to share their stories. You know, one of the things that I considered in the bill, we had the discussion after the news came out that the federal government was making the cuts as to whether or not the $800,000 in the appropriation was enough. Clearly, we were going from $4 million down to now with this bill, $800,000. And so I think there's a lot of struggles that we're having because of the national cuts to other programs in healthcare and this with the USDA, right, with agriculture as we're seeing today. And so I look forward to working with all of you to ensure that the bill gets passed. And I just hope that we at least provide some level of resolution, especially hearing the stories of how many farmers are going to be impacted by this, and especially the drawbacks that this will have to our rural economy. So I just want to ask for your support, and thank you so much for having us here today.
Thank you, Senator Iñárritu. I will now close the hearing on Senate Bill 233. Our final business is going to be public comment. Please remember, public comment is limited to 2 minutes. Is there any public comment here in Carson City? Seeing none. AVH, is there any public comment on the phone lines?
If you would like to provide public comment, please press *9 now to take your place in the queue. Thank you, Chair. The public line is open and working. However, there are no callers at this time.
Thank you, AVH. Just a reminder, this Thursday's meeting is canceled due to a meeting that's happening prior that's going to be a little bit longer. So, oh, never mind. Just kidding. We have the allergy medications. This Thursday, we are going to have a meeting hearing 2 bills. Just making sure everybody's paying attention. Okay. Our next meeting is March 20th. This meeting is adjourned. Everybody have a great day.